This disaster didn't happen suddenly. It was building up, quietly, invisibly, long before that final dive even began. Nearly 3.8 kilometers beneath the ocean surface lies the wreck of Titanic, a place few can reach. OceanGate created Titan for one purpose: to take passengers down to see it up close. On June 18, 2023, one of those expeditions began. At 8:55 a.m., Titan descended into the deep ocean. But less than 2 hours later, something went terribly wrong. At 10:47 a.m., the submersible imploded. No warning, no signal, just silence. Hours passed. By 7:10 p.m., the United States Coast Guard was alerted. Titan was overdue. And just like that, a rescue mission turned into a mystery. For 4 days, the world waited. Then, on June 22, 2023, debris was discovered, about 500 meters from Titanic's bow. That's when it was confirmed. Titan had been destroyed by an implosion. No one survived, but the biggest question still remained. If Titan was claimed to be safe, what caused it to fail? An investigation began immediately, led by the United States Coast Guard and the National Transportation Safety Board. It lasted nearly 2 years, and in August 2025, the final report was released. What it revealed was clear and disturbing. This was preventable, not because of one mistake, but because of multiple failures happening together. One of the biggest issues was something called cyclic loading. Titan's hull was made of layered carbon fiber. Every time it descended to extreme depths, the pressure compressed it, and when it resurfaced, it expanded again. Over time, this repeated stress weakened the material, and there were warnings. In 2022, during an earlier dive, a loud bang was heard. It was ignored, but it was likely the sound of carbon fiber layers cracking. Ignoring that, under nearly 6,000 pounds per square inch pressure, was a critical mistake. Then there was the issue of materials. The main body was carbon fiber, but the end caps were made of titanium. Two materials reacting differently under pressure, expanding and contracting at different rates. They were bonded with adhesive, and over time, that bond weakened, compromising the structure. Another major flaw was the viewport. It was only rated for 1,300 meters, but Titan was diving to 3,800 meters. Acrylic bends under pressure. Repeated bending weakened its seals, making failure more likely with every dive. Even how Titan was stored added to the risk. Instead of a controlled environment, it was kept in an open parking area in Canada. Exposed to extreme weather, temperature changes caused expansion and contraction. Moisture entered the carbon fiber. It froze, expanded, and damaged the structure further. Then there was the safety system. OceanGate promoted a real-time monitoring system. But the report found it was almost useless. It could only detect failure seconds before it happened. At that depth, seconds don't matter. There's no escape. Another issue: regulation. Titan wasn't properly certified to carry passengers, so instead, they were labeled as mission specialists, a way to avoid strict safety rules and inspections. Even the shape of Titan raised concerns. Most deep-sea vessels are spherical to evenly distribute pressure. Titan was cylindrical, which created uneven stress points. And finally, the company itself. Internal concerns were raised, warnings were given, but many were ignored. Decisions prioritized speed and innovation over safety. And the report makes a chilling statement. If Stockton Rush had survived, he could have faced manslaughter charges. So what really happened to Titan? It wasn't one failure, it was all of them, combined. Weakened carbon fiber, failing bonds, an overstressed viewport, ignored warnings. At extreme depth, the structure finally gave way. And in an instant, the submersible imploded, a preventable disaster. Titan didn't fail in a single moment. It failed over time. decision by decision. Because in places this extreme, you can't ignore the limits. The ocean doesn't forgive mistakes. It only waits for them. So the real question is, how many warnings does it take before something becomes inevitable?